Okay, we're trying again. Well, we had her scheduled, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it is going through a problem with Skype or what, but it's not. Let's see if we got her. Hey, Penny, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I tried calling you a minute ago, and you didn't answer, kid. How you doing tonight?
This was the only time it rang here.
Interesting. You know, well, I guess maybe we're talking about a subject with you here tonight that maybe somebody doesn't want us to talk about. I don't know. You want to tell the listeners who you are and a little bit about your past?
I am Penny Bradley, and I am a survivor of a black op that took me into space in more than one altar for more than one trip. And I was originally kidnapped when I was 4 years old, and I was put through mind fracture at Langley by the CIA. And when they had that done, they sent me to Montauk.
Well, okay, was back, when you talk about what they did with your mind, a lot of people don't know what that means. Can you explain what they did to you?
Mind fracture is the process of torturing a child until they create a bubble that stores the trauma where the main part of the mind can't remember it. It's a survival mechanism for a child. And that's why they do it to children, is because adults can't do this. Adults go catatonic instead. But they form these bubbles, and eventually the bubble will forget that there ever was a mind, and at that point they're programmable to become new people. And those people can be trained to do whatever the programmer wants them to do. Most people know this as Manchurian Candidate. That's what we're talking about. And this was done to me when I was 4 years old, and that was in 1959. So they've had this technology since the 1920s in Germany, and with Operation Paperclip, they had it in America.
Interesting.
I was listening to your prior guest, and I have a chip too. It's in my right ear, and I feel it every time I clean my ear. And my doctor has seen it and made comments about it. I asked him if he wanted to remove it for me, and he says, I think we'll leave that alone.
Interesting.
So,
I've talked to some people that, Penny, that have been, claimed that they've been chipped. And when they removed it, all of a sudden they started having ill health and a whole bunch of, things physically go wrong with them. And it seems like one of the things, and, a lot of these people that claim they've been chipped, it actually has kept them in good health where, they've claimed they've never been sick in their life. They never had any cancers or any diseases. And then, the ones that actually had it removed, that's why I was trying to find out with Timothy if his health changed at all after it was removed. Because there's been a lot of reports of people, again, when they claimed that their chip was removed, and all of a sudden they started having major health issues.
I started having CAT scans in about 1985, and I think the radiation involved did something to mine because I had a virus in 1981, and I haven't been well since, but my health went really bad after I got the CAT scans, and that was because there was something wrong with my brain. Yeah, I come up with all this crazy stuff, and there's something wrong with my brain. My brain is deformed consistent with being spun, which is a practice they do in the black ops so that you can't reintegrate your alters. And so what's wrong with my brain actually verifies my story.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well,
the embarrassing little things that come out.
Yeah. Now, you were saying last time you were on the show that you were like stripped naked in a cell and tortured and all this stuff by, government people.
Yeah. And I was 4 years old. I was in a cell for most of 5 years. My head was shaved. When I got there, the first thing they did was drown me. They had an EP tank that allowed them to bring us back from the dead and repair any damage that they had done to us. But we would still have the memory that they had done it. And their point was to create, it's, I think, 3 shy of 2,200 of these bubbles for memory. They wanted 2,200 altars to work with. And they went through, and they had this laundry list of, they go in this order, and they do these things to you, and when one stops working, they go to the next one on the list. And when it stops working, they go to the next one. And I must have been pretty difficult because they've done some things to me that they haven't done to others or nobody's told me that they remember having it happen. But they start off with drowning you and proceed to rape, sodomy, locking you into a vault and leaving you there till the air runs out.
Oh, wow.
They nailed me inside a wall. They put a bunch of us into a vault and left us in there until we starved to death. They shot us right in the middle of the forehead. Then after they went through creating all the altars, when we failed to perform tasks, they would electrocute us. And I'm not talking about with a cattle prod. I'm talking about electrocution, fry all the hair off you.
Oh, wow.
They were not nice to us. They didn't have to be nice to us because they had this tank where they could dump us into it. There was no painkillers, like you mentioned with Tim. There's no pain control. Their intention was to torture us. And I got electrocuted a lot because they thought I should be better at remote viewing than I am. They had previously modified my DNA, and they expected that I would be better at remote viewing.
Now, how old were you, Penny, when this was all going on?
I'm 63 now. I was 4 when they took me. So I was at Langley for 5 years with a 6-month trip to Montauk. And they spent about a year and a half doing mind fracture to create the 2,200 altars. And then they sent me to Montauk because in those days, everyone in the program that survived mind fracture, and 80% of us didn't.
What happened when they didn't survive?
They would go catatonic, and they would put the kids in an incinerator. Those kids never came back. Those are part of your 800,000 missing kids, are the ones that they don't come back because they didn't survive the process. And the bodies they can bring back, but if they've destroyed the mind, the kid is gone. So 80% of us were destroyed.
Interesting.
So then we went to Montauk, the survivors did, and we were expected to time travel, and I didn't. I went multidimensional instead, which there was a Draco warrior, and I don't know what their race name actually is, but it's the Draco have 7 castes, and they are the ones below the alphas. And they're descended from turtles, and they don't have wings, but otherwise they look just like the thing in Jupiter Ascending. They come in green and brown. And this guy was there, and he's this big, huge thing, and he's sitting there in the corner keeping an eye. And the guys that were running Montauk in 1961, when I was there, they got mad because they couldn't track me because I wasn't going through time, which was all they could deal with. And so they were going to pop me into the incinerator as useless. And this Draco stands up and he says, "I'll chip her, and I'll go find her." And he did, and he's actually why I'm alive here today. And he said that the ability to travel interdimensionally was more valuable than anything else they were trying to do with me. And it turned out that that's the skill you need to be a navigator in space. So that defined my job description later on. But they wanted us to travel in time because this was very early in the stage where they were still mapping the timeline. And they wanted to know how much they could change things in the past without it messing up today.
How much can you change stuff in the past without, making major effects on the future?
It turns out that you can change quite a bit of small things. People in the aggregate affect time, but people as individuals really don't, unless you're one of the big names in history. I mean, Charlemagne would affect, but his brother, maybe not.
Interesting. Now,
so there were a lot of they were mapping it then, and the project they wanted me to do was to go to this general store in the 1880s somewhere in the western North America and steal an apple, because we were trying to see how much that would change things. And I wasn't allowed to eat it on the way back because someone else was going to have to put it back. And this theory is called the butterfly effect. So they were testing the limits of the butterfly effect. Now, it's probably beyond your audience. There will be some who will understand this.